My name is Gene Dillard. I'm on Instagram, dillard.gene.
And how did you get started with the works in the yard? Let's take
Uh,
a look and you tell me what you did.
Well, the first thing I started was with flat stuff, okay? And I did a few flat things, and then I did the arbor there, and then I jumped to 3D. 3D was a real simple jump for me. And I did the woman's around the corner there with the Elvis Presley belt and the umbrella.
Walk with me and show me here.
Yes. All right, this is a woman with an Elvis Presley belt and an umbrella. And she was the first three-dimensional object I made. And then I did a surfer coming from, I used to be a surfer in high school, and I thought it worked really good with this hill. And this guy here is a surfer. And I had a UFO there, but I didn't like it. I figured that's what every middle-aged guy needed, was a UFO in his yard, right? And you can't really see it, but up in the tree is the alien that came out of the UFO. You probably can't see it real good. I made the dragon that was holding the mailbox, and see, it goes in the ground and comes out, and then its tail is the light up there. You probably can't see it. And then one day I was here and I was making this hand railing, and these kids walked by and he said, "Hey, mister, you ought to make the hand railing a snake." I said, "Whoa, that's a great idea." So I tore it out, and that's what I did. I made the snake. So whoever those kids are, if I ever see them, I'll have to thank them.
Helps you see a new,
Yeah.
the possibilities.
But you know, if you look at these figures, there's a lot of bending and welding, so I was already into tedious.
Yeah, yeah.
Tedious works for me.
I like it too. I like ironing.
Oh, there
because
you go.
because I can just zone out.
Yeah. Okay, and this piece here was, we have the American Dance Festival here, and this was inspired by Palabolis, the dance group. They're kind of very gymnastic. Yeah. Is that the right name? Yeah. Yeah. So at that time I was into modern dance. Yeah. And
Okay. What else do we have?
well, we got the house.
Yes,
Mikasa
we do.
Sukasa.
Yes, we do. So how did the decision to gild the lily begin?
Well, I had a midlife crisis and I went away to the Peace Corps. I turned 50 in the Peace Corps, and then I came back and I started with the bottle wall in the backyard. Do we need to go over there? And then I jumped to the garage and started mosaicing the garage. It was just a easy transition. And I'll never forget the first thing I mosaicked. When I grouted it, I felt like Kramer on, what's that show?
Seinfeld?
Seinfeld. Oh, whoa, man! Whoa! And I haven't looked back.
So when you did get to the front of the house, tell me about this process and how you envisioned the light.
Well, it's been what it's been. It's been like a lot of decisions I've made in my life. I never understood the ramifications, and I didn't really know how the light would act. I just had this thought of covering it with these little pieces of mirror, and I thought it'd be nice, but I had no concept of what it'd be like.
So where did you find all of the materials?
There's a store in town called Scrap Exchange, and they're by their insurance laws, they're not allowed to handle mirrors. So people would give them mirrors, and so they would call me. and that's how I started getting a lot of them. And or I'd go pick them up at people's houses, and now people know I do this, and so now people drop mirrors off or
So we act like it's a really normal thing to just start creating an artwork out of your house, but it is not a. It may be normal, but it isn't standard. How did it occur to you? You know, what was your thought process to get you actually saying, "Let's do this"?
Well, I was a repairman. That's what I did for money for all my life, and at some point I kind of started resenting the fact that I was repairing what somebody else designed. I wasn't, I didn't, I wasn't able to go to college for to repair stuff, or I mean, design or whatever. And so I just started. That's what really led me to start making this stuff. Is the need to create something for myself. And then one day I realized, I've lived in this house for 15 years, and I don't have any idea the concept of who lived in here before me. And the house was built in the 40s. So I decided to personalize it. I realized, everybody gets their homes and they worry about resale value. And it's not necessarily a home. It's, that's why earth tones are real popular. And so I decided to go outside of that little norm.
So you decided to use your home as your canvas
Well, I guess so, yeah.
because you didn't know who came before, but nobody was going to forget.
That I'd been here. Yeah. It's kind of like, I guess, a kid that writes his name on the wall of a bridge. Graffiti. No, I guess not, but, I don't know. And so, consequently, once I start opening up that creative door, it just keeps opening. And that's the fun part.
So now we're walking along the side of the house, which is also similar to the front, right?
Right.
Which is, now that it's sort of golden hour, it's starting to really catch.
It's really starting to shine. Yeah. Now this everybody always asks me two questions, like, oh, how many pieces? Well, I don't have the slightest idea. And how much time did it take? People always want to know. And this wall, I actually kept track of time. And so tearing off the siding I had on there and putting the support wire and breaking the mirrors, I have 500 hours in it. There's 2,008 working hours in a year if you work an 8-hour day. So you can kind of estimate that. And I'll never forget, I got it all ready, and I got my mirrors and my thin set, and I put a ladder up there at the very top, and I got it climbed up there, and it was a hot day, and I looked down at the whole wall that had to be done, and I said, why am I doing this? I have perfectly good siding before. I said, there's something not quite right here. That's a true story.
As we say in the South, you're a little touched.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm going to get a close-up of this again. These gorgeous.
Well, that's
now
right. I'm supposed to be serious here.
Yeah, right.
You're the serious artiste.
Lucky am I, you should ask.
Well, how lucky am I? Well,
So okay, we're in the backyard now. One might think that the gorgeousness ends here, but no, because we come around the back, it's a little dark to see. But you've got the entire back of the house, the entire fence around the back of the house with its beautifully askew windows, and we'll get to that in a second. Got your vehicle, and then we have your.
man cave.
So looks like a spaceship. Tell me about this.
Yeah, somebody called it my time machine too. So, tell you about what? Oh,
The time machine, the man cave, the spaceship.
the thing is, a lot of this is just being playful, You know, it's I've had some people from Duke come up and they start talking about negative space and you know and tension and I looked at them, you know, and okay, yeah, they were pretty women, but I said, man, you guys have read too many books, and I just walked off. Yeah, I couldn't take it. You know, I don't know what all that means. You know, I'm just having fun. I'm just an old geezer having fun out here. You know,
So
this
you-
is Geezerville.
And you have no formal training in visual art.
No, no. Okay, let's back up. I took one charcoal drawing class at Duke night school, and but all my figures kind of looked like the Michelin tire guy. You know, so I was embarrassed to show them. They just mounds and mounds and mounds of tires. So I quit.
So now we've got so we've got your man cave. This how did you get inspired to make it look quite like this?
Well, I was working on, I couldn't, for a long time, maybe about 10 years, I had just the frame up and I had the ribbing on it. And, you know, like I put a shopping cart and bicycles up there and put a couple statues and nothing really spoke to me, you know, I couldn't quite come up with it. And I was coming up the driveway working on the house and I kept catching my eye. And so that's when I decided, well, I'll put mirrors on it. I got tons of mirrors. I might as well use what I got.
And bottles.
And bottles, yeah. And so, you know, that's how it evolved.
Do you spend much time sitting out here?
Well, in the fall and winter, I like sitting out here. You know, in summer it gets pretty hot. Yeah, but you know, this time of day, evening, yeah, it's fun. I've even had people come up and they've had picnics in there. You know, and I'd say by the look on the woman's eye, it was going to be successful. Once again, I'm somebody's wingman.
One thing I love is how you first take in the front of the house and then you sort of peek. It's like, holy cannoli, there's something else growing back there.
Well, what happened was, you know, I started with the bottle wall, well, and then I did the garage, and nobody ever saw it. And then I did the back of the house, nobody ever saw it. But when I started the front, that's when
The car started stopping.
that's when
And
things
the
started.
lightning started.
Yeah, that's when everything started
flashing.
happening. Yeah.
So let's talk about the bottle wall.
Well, it's my bottle wall with I call those my Salvador Dali wall windows because they're
Oh, I
cockeyed.
know.
What?
Or Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, there you go.
Dorothy's house after
Yeah.
the tornado.
That wall, you know, that was the first concrete thing I did, and it was to leap into, you know, maybe something abstract. Yeah. You know,
I
and
love
all
that.
that. You know, all of it. I mean, yeah, it's physically it's work, but it also takes a lot of kind of. I gotta let my brain go. You know. Yeah. She says, yeah.
It's like meditation.
You what?
It's like meditation.
Oh, yeah.
And then when did you do the back of the house?
Well, I went from the wall here to the garage. The front of the garage was first. This side was second, and the back was third. And then I did the back of the garage.
Let's go to the garage.
I mean, back of the house, excuse me.
Let's go to the garage. So the garage is a little more representational. We can see these are flowers instead of just, you know,
Shapes.
Shapes, yeah.
Negative space.
But how it's a little bit just sort of like prettier.
Yeah, a friend of mine was working with me, and we went back and forth with the design more. That was more thought out, a woman friend. But we got started on it, and I guess it was a little, you know, she kind of, I don't know, quit working on it.
It's a little daintier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But and then I recently added the skeletons. Most people have skeletons in their closets. I got them on my garage door. Yeah. Man needs his skeletons. Keep him happy in his nursing home. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So tell me about some of your raw materials. It looks like you've got piled up right next to the actual finished
Just a lot
art.
of crap.
Say what?
It's just a lot of crap. I mean, well, people give me mirrors, and I don't know what the hell to do with them, so I stick them here. You know?
And then they eventually find a home somewhere as part of the mosaic.
Well, yeah, what I do is I take them in the house, and I stretch out a painting tarp, and I get a big plastic bucket that you mix concrete in, and I break them in that. And then I spend many hours using tile nippers, nipping them by hand. And that's probably why I'm single, because most women would say, do you have to do that in the living room? Yeah, I do, as a matter of fact. You know, I mean, I enjoy what I do, obviously, and also I try to keep my sense of humor about it, you know? That way it's not all serious, you know? I want it to be playful. This is my fantasy world. Isn't your fantasy world playful? Well, maybe I don't want to know. Tell me about your fantasy world, lady. Oh, was that on camera? Have you got
But
one?
it
Tell me
doesn't
that.
involve breaking mirrors in my living room.
Why not?
I know. I mean, call me crazy, but so how did you get the idea to have the splotches on the roof?
Well, I was up on the roof, and I was measuring my chimney for the thing up on the chimney cover, and I started looking around all the other roofs, and I said, you know, roofs are really pretty damn boring. So I said, you know, I think I'm just gonna throw a little color into it. I'm gonna need a new roof anyway, so I might as well. Yeah, you know, and that's when I say, you know, there was a dinosaur, a flying dinosaur did it, you know. Pooped on my house. Can we say that in the movie?
We can say anything as long as we're having
fun. As long
fun.
as you can edit it. Yeah.
So at this time of day, this is really just stunning, isn't
Yeah,
it?
now see this part right here? Oh, I don't want you to see my bald spot.
Yeah.
No. So this little thing here, a neighbor, her daughter made that like when she was in third grade, and it broke. And so they gave it to me. They were moving, and so I stuck this bottle in there and put it in. Now that little girl is now in D.C. as a nurse. And the mother has moved to Charlotte, but so you know that little neighbor stuck there. Yeah. And then,
About how long ago did all this start? When you first began with the sculptures, about what?
it's about 20 years ago.
And what's the most recent addition to your collection? The yard we haven't looked at yet, the side of the house.
The side of the house.
Okay.
Now see, some little kid, some lady actually, a poet gave me her last marble,
I saw that marble.
and I stuck it in there for her.
A poet.
Yeah.
Is it okay to say her name?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Who is it?
Oh. Oh, me. Diane Gallagher.
Diane
Yeah,
Gallagher.
she was a counselor at the local high school, and now she's back up in New York City. Yeah.
Is she like brownies? Oh, good, yeah. We brought you brownies.
Oh.
Do you like them? Because
Sure.
seriously, they're
They're not hallucinogenic either.
I gave 2 minutes, so I brought them to give to Liz.
Well, you
I'll
know,
give them to you. Let me.
I don't. I do all.
see, a lot of this, you know, has happened. It's like my fantasy world, you know, and I'm trying to create. And I'm not going to say what my political affiliation is, but in our current time, you know, people get a lot of enjoyment out of it. Now, see, that's another thing I did not bargain for, is how much enjoyment people get out of coming here. And I'm somewhat of an extrovert, you know. Well, I am an extrovert, so I enjoy sharing it, you know. So.
I think that would be a very bad combination to create this in a residential neighborhood with houses this close, and to not be an extrovert.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and my neighbors do encourage it. You know,
There's
Yeah.
been no neighborly complaints?
Not yet. As property value goes up, it might. So at one point, I was talking about like, donating it to the North Carolina Art Council, and it could be used like as an artist retreat place, or somewhere somebody could stay while they're studying writing or something. Well, when I kick the bucket, because this is really about me right now, and my kids, they're not gonna know what the hell to do with it. you know.
What do your kids think of this? Your kids are adults, so.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they seem to enjoy it. Yeah, yeah. My son, he went to Cooper Union, an art school, and so he gets a kick out of it. And I tell people, I take after him. He doesn't take after me, because he's kind of encouraged me along the way. And my daughter, at first it was like, do you have to do that? And now she likes it.
So this is the most recent part of your.
The last wall. I'll probably go through postpartum wall blues. Yeah, and this here is a bookworm, and I couldn't read when I was growing up, but I always had a great respect for books, and so one of the first things I made was this bookworm. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so tell.
All right.
Because it's a little dark here, I love the bookworm. I would buy this bookworm. But tell me about how you're doing these worms on the side of your.
Well, the first set of worms that are finished, I made them right on the wall, and I wove the metal into the support metal. And these I've had to make separate, and I'm now covering them in glass beads, and I'll grout them, so they'll look like those others somewhat when I'm done. And you probably can't see, but there's little black birds, swallows flying around. Some people say, some of my neighbors say they look like bombers. Now, if you look right over, see, now that's what the siding in the house used to have. The blue siding, that's what it used to have. The whole house was wrapped in it. And it was perfectly good until I took it off. Yeah.
So I know that sometimes you are referred to as an outsider artist, and what's your feeling about that?
Well, the thing is, it is true that I'm not a trained artist, but however, I do have like internet and books I can look at. So it's not like I'm just having and doing it. So I don't see myself as an outside artist, but I do get called that, yes.
And you like it, dislike it, or are neutral?
Well, at first I didn't like it. Well, what kind of amazed me was people would label me when I started. And I didn't get that. Like, I had one friend's wife come and say I was ADH or DDT or something, and I was just a guy having fun, So, I didn't like that. But people got to put me in all of it. We do that. We put people in our little
Well, I
boxes.
think that's human nature, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Except I've known a few people who won't do it, who won't label others, who say, I don't believe in labeling people. But most people label people, absolutely.
Yeah, I could fix it, but
This is it.
I'm kind of sick of that.
This
And when I
is
get
with his wife Claire.
and when I get sick of doing this, I'll move on to something else.
Do you have any idea what you'll move on to next?
No. Mm-mm.
Well, I think people would want to buy things like that. Like she said, she'd buy it, the bookworm, and any of those statues, things that people could buy and take home, kind of thing. I don't suppose you'd want to spend 20 years of your life doing somebody else's house for them.
No, and the thing is, not that I have enough money. We never have enough money, but I've done enough for money. This is something I do. I won't sell anything.
Oh, you won't? Okay.
No, and this is just something I enjoy doing and sharing it with people.
Yeah. Well, I wish I could do something and sell it, so I guess that's why I slapped that on you.